Pat Robertson weighed in on Bernie Sanders' candidacy, and it's a doozy.
All those young people, and here this old man, this old socialist, saying all these things. And these kids, I don't know if you listened to his speech, but they kept cheering over and over again.
He got 80% of the voters under the age of 29. Bernie Sanders did.
Well, I mean,
and that's an amazing thing.
Is that like the kids that want to do a panty raid in a fraternity? I mean, is it kind of...
Well, first of all, it's an indictment of our education system in America.
Boy,
when these college graduates think that socialism is an economic model that works, I mean, show me anywhere in the world, Bernie Sanders, where socialism hasn't worked. I mean, look at Greece, for goodness sakes. It's bankrupt. Well, look at Argentina. Look at France. Look at Detroit. I mean, look at Puerto Rico. All of the socialist states are going bankrupt.
He wants a 90% top tax, and he kept inveighing against the billionaire class. How many billionaires have we got? The whole thing is absurd.
Even if you took every penny from every billionaire in the United States, 100% tax rate, you couldn't run the government for 3 or 4 months. That means that if you want the big spending programs that Obama came out with yesterday, or Hillary Clinton has endorsed, or Bernie Sanders, you know where the money has to come from? It has to come from the middle class. They are going to raise taxes on the middle class if they win, but they're not.
Virtually every part of that was dead wrong. So to all the fear-mongering about, no, he's going to have to raise middle-class taxes. He's going to have to raise the middle-class taxes. That's what he's going to do. No, wait a second. The plans exist. The proposals exist. They're telling you what they're in favor of. And you can see if they're raising taxes or cutting taxes. So first of all, as I've pointed out in the past, you want to know who's in favor of raising taxes on the middle class and the poor? Republicans. Don't take my word for it. You go back and look, man. My go-to example that I always point to, because this was when I learned about it and my mind was blown, is John McCain versus President Obama. What happened in that election? Well, CNN Money did an analysis of their tax plans, and come to find out, President Obama cuts taxes more for 90% of the American people. The only people he raises taxes on, or their taxes are higher under him compared to McCain, is the top 10%. So this idea of, Republicans are the party of tax cuts. No, wrong. Republicans are the party of tax cuts for, at best, the top 10%, but oftentimes it's just the top 5% or the top 1%. The party of tax cuts for the middle class and the poor would be the Democrats. Okay? That's historical trends. You can't argue against it. Just because there's been political framing and propaganda that people have been pushing out forever where they say, Republicans do tax cuts, Democrats do tax hikes, doesn't mean it's true. Look at the actual plans. Use your own brain. Look at it. You do the math. If you want to cut taxes for 90% of the American people or keep it lower for them, well, then that means that that party is more the party of tax cuts for the middle class and the poor. Okay, so they're just wrong when they say that. Now, let's take a look at Bernie Sanders' tax plan and let's see how that matches up with the rest of what they say. So, there it is right there, the tax rate now and what Bernie Sanders is proposing. Now, Bernie Sanders probably won't get this, but this is his starting position. Now, if you make $250,000 or less, here's what Bernie wants to do. Not raise your taxes a single penny. So this idea he wants to raise tax on the middle class, just not true. He released his plan. He doesn't want to raise your taxes a single penny if you make under $250,000. Now, when you get over that, he does want to raise your taxes slightly depending on which bracket. Now, to their main claim there, like Pat Robertson, I want to tax them 90%. Okay, no, Bernie's top tax rate is 52%, not 90%. There's a big difference between 52 and 90. And furthermore, it's 52% for everything that you make over $10 million a year. See, people don't understand marginal taxes because they're ignorant and they're happy to be ignorant on the right, people like Pat Robertson here. A marginal rate means everything you make over a certain number is taxed at that higher rate. Everything under is taxed at the lower rate. So it's not like he's even going to take 52% of your $10 million if you make $10 million and he's taking, about $5 million from you. Even that's not true. It's every penny, every dollar over $10 million is what's taxed at 52%. So these guys don't know what marginal tax rates are, and they're just lying about his rate. It's not 90%. Like Bill Maher says, these things are zombie lies at this point, where people just say it and repeat it, and idiots and ignorant people assume it's true, and they just keep repeating it. But it's not true. Doesn't matter how many times you repeat it, it's not fucking true. So if you want to argue against him, come correct, come with facts, and say, hey, here's why you're wrong, and I'm not going to strawman your position to tell you why you're wrong. But they can't do that. You want to know why? Because his ideas are good. His ideas are popular. Your ideas suck. So a classic Republican dodge here where they go, oh, socialism, he wants socialism, it's not going to work. Oh my God, this is like all those places that have failed, like Cuba and this place and that place. I don't even know the exact places he said, but I can give you an example of places where it's working. Western Europe. Tell me how my ass tastes, as Shaq said. It's working wonderfully there. In fact, Denmark, a few years ago, was ranked literally the happiest place on earth. And let's be clear, Bernie doesn't even want socialism. What they have in Denmark is not socialism. This is democratic socialism or social democracy. So this is a hybrid of capitalism and socialism. They will never acknowledge that nuance in detail. They don't even know their basic definitions. You just want to use the dirty word and tar them with it. Socialism, 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 socialism. So in your mind, you picture the Soviet Union or Cuba or communist China. And oftentimes, just wait for it, a lot of them already have called him a communist. And some of them are hinting at it and will do it in the future. But they either go socialist or communist, and that's it. They don't give you the nuance. They don't say it's democratic socialism or social democracy. And they don't point to the places where they have better systems than us and where they're beating us in healthcare and education and happiness and middle-class income and all these different things. I don't even know what panty raid means. When he said it, I had to look it up. Pat's like, well, these kids want to do a panty raid? Who the fuck said anything about a panty raid? You said something about a panty raid. Nobody else said anything about a panty raid. What the fuck is a panty raid? Turns out that's when, at a college, guys go around and just steal women's underwear. I didn't know that there was a specific name for that. I thought one would just call that guys stealing underwear and being an epic creeper. But apparently it's a thing, and it's a thing that Pat Robertson has heard of, and I've never heard of. I'm 28. He's 123. How come you know about it? I don't know about it. Sounds like something perhaps you may have been interested back in the day. Or something that you know of and it's on the front of your mind. And you know what the goal is here, right? It's to just, say, you stupid younger voters don't know anything and that's why they're supporting Bernie Sanders. They're just young perverts. I don't know the connection to how you got sexuality involved in this, but I can assure you, Bernie voters know a hell of a lot more than you do. You've been, reading only specific parts of the Bible for decades now, and you're a fundamentalist Christian moron who doesn't know anything about science or real-world information or policy specifics. They're knee-deep in policy wonk material, actually learning about the world and getting evidence. So what's funny is this is really projection because it's the exact opposite of what he's saying. The Bernie voters and young voters in general have way more information. They go online to get their stuff. These guys watch CBN or watch shitty mainstream news, which rarely brushes on anything even close to truth. So spare me with that. And when Stephen Moore there says, this is an indictment on our education system. Right, yeah. You're on the Christian Broadcasting Network talking to an evangelical kook. And you're going to say, hey, yeah, education system's the problem. The academics are the problem. Or perhaps those academics know what the fuck they're talking about. And you, yucking it up with your fundamentalist Christian buddy, are talking out of your ass. I think that's much more likely.